just think if you're on a dating app, red wine doesn't count as an interest. It's certainly not an adequate substitute for a personality, is it?
I don't know. I don't go on dating apps.
That's the right answer, Russell. Well done.
Yeah. Surprised you do.
Your long-term wife is probably sat watching now, going, "Oh yeah, he is a keeper." Well, you are a keeper, aren't you? She's got a glove fetish.
His life insurance isn't worth that much at the minute.
Yeah.
I wasn't a very good keeper, I'll tell you that much. Better coach than I was keeper. Right, let's kick it off.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
On the edge of the box is Madden. Madden trying to manufacture the shot, gets it away, it's there! Oh my word! What a goal from Paddy Madden! The Irishman strikes again! And is that the goal that's going to send Stockport County back into the Football League?
Thought that intro would have been dead by now. Hello and welcome to another warmly anticipated and hotly welcomed record-breaking episode of the Scarf Bagara War, part of the TalkSport Fan Network. Another week has gone by. We're all alive still. What more can you ask for? Well, I'll tell you. Colchester review? Check. Newport preview with a Newport fan? Check. Big announcements? Check. A brand new quiz that goes by without a hitch? Check. On that later. Yes, we are with you for the next 60 or so minutes. Is that too long? Not long enough? Frustratingly, nobody seems to know. So 60 minutes it is. With me, Nick Lee, and join us as always. He says a friend is just an enemy who's not annoyed you yet. Wise words when you're my friend. It is, of course, the man, the myth, the very profound yet slightly hurt Russell C. Johnson. Hello.
Russell
Right,
C.
mate.
Johnson, yeah, not bad. How are you?
Squire. Not too good this week, mate. I found out yesterday that my window cleaners died. So, yeah. So I can always contact him using a squeegee board, can't I? That's well worth it. Well worth it. Thank you very much. That's gentle. No one's got hurt with that joke. No one's got hurt. It's just nice, gentle, call my bluff. You know, when it's something you'd hear when you're off sick from school, that on like some TV quiz show or something. It's like, yeah, Bradley Walsh would approve of that, I think.
Yeah. It's
I thought it was Bradley Walsh's joke book.
He's very unprofessional, Bradley Walsh is. He's always laughing at like dirty names on the chase. Don't rate it. Don't rate it.
I don't. I was going to say, I think talking of dirty names, Waggy's with us, but I don't know how that links in. It's not really a dirty name, is it? I was thinking of something.
No.
Yeah, off the cuff there. I don't know. Yeah.
Now, if you were calling Waggle, then maybe.
That's not.
How are you, Waggy, mate? You all right?
No. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. But just don't call me Waggle.
No. No, we won't.
It's definitely an I there, not an L. Or do I have to just sit here like this?
You can do if you want, yeah. Well, do it in the bath, and I'll chuck my washing in with you. Sorted.
So the cameras can't get you.
Yeah.
So, Nick, you stole half my thunder then, but that's okay. So, on tonight's agenda, we're going to talk about the Colchester win, the record equaling Colchester win. We're going to have an Oppo review with Ed from 1912 Exiles podcast, a Newport County podcast. I'm guessing that we all hate Wrexham tonight. So, that's something we've got going for us. We're going to talk about the Simon Wilson interview for those that have watched it and not watched it, because it's pretty interesting. We'll have a bit about the EFL Cup draw. We'll have Getting Reses as well. First, though, we've got some admin just to not get it out of the way, but tell you about all the things that are happening. We've finished the survey now. Thank you to everybody that participated in that. We had over 110 replies, which is pretty good. So we're taking all that on board, and we're going to make minor tweaks, and hopefully you can see that come through and make the podcast a better podcast. First things first, though, YouTube, please do like and subscribe. 40% of our viewers are not subscribed, and we're only one away from 1,600 as well. So please do that. That'd be great. Don't forget, you can subscribe to our Patreon. You get ad-free episodes earlier than everybody else. There's 20% off the merchandise that we've got going. Thank you to everybody that's bought merchandise recently. The Alafi, Charlie, and Ben t-shirts have been pretty popular. And if you've ordered in the past few days, all that's been sent out now. That's been shipped. So that should be winging its way to you. We've got the Steve Massey interview being recorded tomorrow. That'll be out on Sunday for patrons. And Dave Smith Never Existed will be out next Thursday, won't it, Nick?
Well, indeed, yes. A packed episode talking about all the times County have been on the telly and on all the different days of the week. It's about as niche as it gets, and it's only the third episode.
Yeah.
I'm
not sure how much niche you can get.
Oh, don't you worry, it can.
And then finally for patrons, Nick, Christmas do. Want to tell us about that?
Yes, we are having our now yearly big fat panel show quiz thing. I will come up with a name for it, a better name. No, I won't come up with a better name for it. I think that encapsulates the anarchy and the carnage that it was last year. And more of the same this year. It's any second now, patrons will get the announcement and they can find out how to score themselves a free ticket. But Ben Walker will be hosting, myself and Russ will be team captains with guests including our very own Waggy, Jonathan the Geordie Hatter, Sam Byrne, and one other guest to be confirmed / decided / approached. And I'm gonna hit the button on Patreon.
/ dragged in off the street.
/ dragged in off the street, yeah. And if you're on Patreon, you'll be getting that post in your feed right now. Just drop us a message on Patreon to secure a ticket. But don't ask for a ticket if you have no intention of coming. Because I had a lot of fannying about on the day of the thing last year. Because I had a list of people who wanted to come, but there wasn't space. And then I had another list of people saying, well, actually, I can't come after all. I've made it very prohibitive, haven't I?
Yeah, that's what happens when you make it free, isn't it? That's what happens.
Yeah. Turns out beggars can't be choosers. But yes, Excellent. That is on your Patreon feed now.
Excellent stuff. Right, so without further ado, because he's probably got better things to do, I'm guessing, we'll get Ed out from the 1912 Exiles podcast, a Newport County podcast.
Running Armstrong, played in the game, and a superb goal, and it's Connolly who scored it.
Hello, Ed.
Noswaith Pawb yn iawn?
Hey, dwi'n dysgu Cymraeg.
Da iawn, fantastic. What a teg.
There you go. You see, that's about as much as I can say without saying how I'm dressed and things like that.
That's what I did to Duolingo.
First few modules of Duolingo, and that was about it. I've paused since then. But yeah, how are you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, well, I'm all right considering that we are going to get gubbed in whatever it is 3 sleeps time when you come to town. This is, of all the games this season, this is the one I'm dreading most because I saw us home and away against Stockport last year. I was very impressed by you, and you were my tip pre-season to win the division. I've not seen any evidence so far that makes me think that isn't going to happen. And we are playing you in the middle of quite a dry spell anyway for us. And yeah, I can see it being quite a long old afternoon for Newport County fans.
You're worried about it, but these are the ones that we get worried about. Especially when we're on a possibly record-breaking run like this. These are the games where we think, oh, God. It was the same with Swindon the other week, and we came through that just about. But it's horrible. People challenge winners.
Yeah. I mean, you put yourself up there to be beaten, I guess, but I'd much rather be in your position in the league than ours. And I think I was just looking now just to refresh my memory of the squad that you've got and the strength in depth that you are able to rely on. I mean, I think it is one of the things that I think is quite impressive this season with Stockport. And I'm not just saying this to flatter you, but in a division where there's a lot of big spending clubs who can just kind of throw money at the problem. I mean, yeah, you're backed and everything else, but actually the way you've kind of built that squad and built that dynamic really well. And, there's a clear, the thing that I thought, particularly the game we played at Edgeley Park last season, you just look so well drilled. Everyone knew their job. You did a real professional number over us, and it just looked like a team where, yeah, everyone knew what they were doing. They knew the game plan, went out, executed it, and so that's why I'm fearful for Saturday.
Yeah. Well, I suppose you're right to be, because given what we've done, 12 in a row and we are top of the league. But I don't want to make it all about us, because we're here to talk about Newport County, if that's okay. So you're 20th at the moment, 19 points from 18 games. I asked this to every opposition podcaster we have on. How's it been going? Are you underperforming? Are you about right? What's going on?
We're probably where we would have expected to be. So, look, coming into the season, we've got the lowest budget out of any club in the entire Football League. We had a reasonable summer, actually, in terms of recruitment. But, that's against the backdrop of the fact that we had financial difficulties over the summer. We were struggling to attract not just quality, but also, we probably would have preferred a few more bodies through the doors as well. So we're quite thin on the ground. We've then had like a massive injury crisis. Like every defender pretty much has got injured for a lengthy spell already at this point in the season. We actually worked out the other week, we could name 10 outfield players that would make up a halfway decent team in this division, and they're all just sat in the physio's room. So a few of them are starting to come back, but we've had an injury crisis. We didn't have much in terms of squad depth. We probably lack a little bit of quality because of the lack of spending power we've got. We went into this season saying, listen, if we finished 22nd, that's okay, because this is a tough year to be in this division. Like I say, when you've got your Wrexhams, your Notts Counties, your Stockports, your Salfords, just to kind of keep our head above water this year while we sort out some of the financial issues would be enough. We've got a very good, experienced, honest manager in Graham Coughlin. He's the sort of man you want at the helm to kind of steady things when you're in the situation we're in. But yeah, anything survival and upwards is fine. So the fact we're in 20th now, I think is, if anything, slightly overachieving. If you look at the challenges we've had, I would expect us to possibly improve a little bit more in the second half of the season when we've got a few more players back and we can possibly add one or two in January.
Yeah, because you've
the
had,
financial situation there now. Because didn't you have? Was it a local lottery winner at one point?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's going way back to when we got promoted out of the conference with
right, yeah.
Lotto Les. I mean, he wasn't throwing the sort of money that Wrexham's owners or Notts County's owners can put in there, but we were able to bring in a few slightly better players than other teams had around them, and it was enough at that point to get us up. I suspect these days, to get out of the conference, you need to be in a kind of different a whole different stratosphere. But yeah, so we had Lotto Les, then he decided he'd done his bit, so we were then fan owned, trust owned for 10 years. That worked quite well in the years when we were having lots of cup runs and we had money coming in from those. Once the cup runs dried up and COVID hit, it was a kind of perfect storm a little bit. So it was revealed at the start of the summer that we had financial issues and were staring into quite a depressing looking red zone on the balance sheet. And so there was a vote. The fans agreed that we would allow former Swansea City chairman Hugh Jenkins to take a controlling interest in the club. That's still being ratified by the Football League, but it will go through in the next month or so, I would imagine, and he will then hopefully put a bit of money in so that we can strengthen in January. I think most fans don't feel great about it. I certainly would have preferred us to have remained fan owned in perpetuity, but the reality is, to compete at this level, that's quite difficult to manage. Exeter have done it, AFC Wimbledon have done it, but generally speaking, it is quite hard to make that model work, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we know that ourselves, don't we, lads?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, I mean, you've had some good results, though, haven't you? Albeit away from home. I mean, the FA Cup result against Oldham was, I guess, okay, but certainly beating Gillingham at Gillingham and beating Cheltenham at Cheltenham's pretty decent, isn't it? Is it home form where you're struggling?
Home form was the problem last season. We were pretty bad at home last year. This season we have looked stronger. We've been able to score more goals this season than last year. We've also been letting more in, which sort of tells you a little bit about our inconsistencies. But I think the thing this season, we've had a very lumpy set of fixtures. August, September, we had quite an easy start in a lot of ways, which is why at one point I think we were up to like the dizzy heights of 6th or something ridiculous. But we knew that was a false position. Now we're in the middle of a really tough run. We've got you and Mansfield on like consecutive weekends, which is, an unenviable task. So we're now coming towards the end of what is a very, very difficult run. And then December, I think we've got 3 or 4 more winnable games. So it's really just looking at kind of averages rather than any 6-game run of form, because those 6-game runs of form can be very misleading when you've got the sort of fixtures that we've come out with. My sense is we fancy ourselves at home against most teams. You're probably an exception to get something. Away from home, we can do the kind of smash and grab merchant stuff, but it's picking the games where we try and do it, and particularly because of the limited squad we've got and the injuries we've got. If we've got a week where we're playing Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, you do sometimes get the impression that Copland will go, right, let's focus on one, and maybe the others will still try and get something from it. But we know what the most winnable games are in a 3 or 4 game spell.
So are the injuries like new injuries, or have you sort of been hit at the start of the season?
Yeah, it's a bit of both. I mean, it's one of those, like, every time you thought, oh, well, we can't, surely we're not going to get another one, we go and get another one. So we had Adam Lewis, who we had last year on loan from Liverpool, came back this year. It's rare to see fans get so excited about signing a left back, but he had a real quality to him, and could also, like, he loves a slide tackle, and you know what it's like as a fan. You like a player who likes a slide tackle.
Yeah.
So he was great. He was a real kind of engine room fullback. He got injured and probably won't be back until the new year. We had Kyle Jameson, who we signed from Tranmere. He's out on a long-term layoff. We had James Clark, Declan Drysdale, 2 centre-backs. In fact, so that's 3 centre-backs with the 3 I've just mentioned, all of them going out for a couple of months. We then were relying on a young 19-year-old lad from Ireland who come in, very raw, but had a few good games. Everyone's going, oh, this lad Seabury's really good. He's gonna be the one who will come through and save us. Then he broke his leg at like Notts County. So you just, we have just had a run of injuries, and they've all been pretty much to defenders. And it's just meant we've had no consistency along the back line, and it's cost us, partly because we've had a small number of players doing a lot of minutes, and also because we just don't have the experience perhaps in that back line that you would want.
Yeah, fair enough. But talking about the front line, then Will Evans seems to be, he's your top scorer in with goals and assists, actually 11 in total. Is he the man we should be watching? I think we all know about Omar Bogle, but is Will Evans, is he the man to watch for us?
Well, coming to this season, Bogle had got 20 odd goals last year and was on fire, and I think great things expected.
Didn't he?
Yeah. But this season it's all been about Will Evans, the St Edwin Eusebio, who has just transformed. Like 2 years ago, he was playing in the Cymru Premier and kind of helping out on his parents' dairy farm, and now he's top scorer for us, being linked with moves higher up the leagues in January. There's even been some talk about him not being a million miles off getting a Wales call up, which I think is possibly over-egging it. But he's been noticed, and I mean, I love Will Evans. He's a proper, you can play him up front, you can play him on the wing, you can play him centre midfield. He'd probably drive the team bus if you asked him. Like, he does everything. Great work rate, great attitude, scores some nice goals, and is just like a model professional. And the way he's stepped up to come in from being a part-timer to now being one of the kind of pivotal players in the team. And he's very much a Coquelin player. The work rate is there, does everything that's asked of him. So his scoring has been a bit lumpy. There was a lot at the start of the season, then he's had it's perhaps gone a little bit quiet of late. I think it's finding the partner for him. Him and Bogle are both good goal scorers. I'm not sure as a partnership they are necessarily our best pairing. We've got this lad, Seb Palmer-Holden, on loan from Bristol City. He's another one who got a lengthy layoff. I think him and Will Evans actually works better. And you may see him this weekend. He came off the bench and played a bit against Mansfield last weekend. He's still coming back from a long layoff, but I think if we can get him and Evans on the pitch this weekend, that would be a good sign. I really want to see them get a bit of game time ahead of, we've got Barnet in the Cup the following week. And then we've got a winnable little run of games in December. So if we can have those two fit and up and running by then yeah, that'd be a good thing.
Okay, good stuff. Yeah, I mean, we say this before every Saturday. Someone mentioned it as well. All this sounded promising, so it means that you're going to win, basically. But we've managed to sort of tiptoe our way through 12 games and won them all. So, yeah. There's someone has asked actually to talk about off the pitch stuff. Where are the best pubs for away fans? So not just pubs, I guess. If for those travelling down to Newport, where should they go?
Right.
What's to do?
If you want to go somewhere and have a good meal before the game, go to the Indoor Market, which is on the High Street in Newport. Beautiful, like Victorian building, very, very impressive. They spent a lot of money doing it up, and it's now got like street food market thing in there. So you can find yourself a spot and order all sorts of weird and wonderful food from around the place. Really good. You can't go wrong. And then within stumbling distance of that, you've got Tiny Rebel, which is really good, proper, craft beer type thing. Excellent. Across the road from that, you've got Ye Old Muringer House, which is kind of mock Tudor, wood panelled Sam Smith pub. So, cheap, good beer. And if you want to find a nice little corner to sit and have a chat or read your book, you can't go wrong. Love it in there.
No technology though in Sam Smith's, is it? I think
no, but that's no bad thing. Yeah. And also around there, you've also got Le Pub, which is a music venue by night, but a very nice bar during the day. But if you're hanging around after the game, that's a good place to head to. If there'll be a band on, and it's usually good fun. And all of those are within about 100 yards of each other.
And how far from the ground?
10-minute walk. Back across. You just come back across the river from the ground, and it's pretty much the first bit of town that you hit.
Nice. Okay, before we let you go, we always ask our opposition guests, what do you reckon the score will be?
I'm going to say 3-1 Stockport, which, if anything, I'm being too generous to Newport that we'll get one. I just have a feeling it'll be one of those days where, you know what it's like, the hope that kills you. We'll get a goal after 5 minutes and convince ourselves that the shock is on, and then you'll roll us over quite comfortably. I think the main thing, I said this on Twitter, the main thing this weekend is just get through it, keep it with the single-digit defeat and no injuries, and I genuinely I'll take that. Let's just get through it. As long as we don't get anyone else crocked, and we can then focus on some of the more winnable games we've got coming up. I've already mentally written this one off.
You're making me nervous, Ed. You're making me nervous.
It's the mind games.
Yeah. The old reverse psychology. Damn you. One last one. I guess what we don't do with opposition podcasts is talk a bit about us. I know you did at the start, but who in our team do you know about, and who do you think is going to be your biggest threat from our perspective?
Again, I was having a bit of a look before the game. Obviously, Paddy Madden is the one who kind of sticks out. I have to say, the player who last season in both games really impressed me is Miles Hippolyte, who just looked like a player who, again, knows what he's there to do. Take on your man, swing a cross in. He just, he's my sort of player. I like the way that his final ball delivery was really, really good. And probably he's the one I would have, if I could have stolen a player and stuffed them into the back of a car and driven them back to Newport and forced them to wear amber and black, it would have been him.
Well, you don't want him playing for you now. He's out till Christmas.
Oh, there you go. You give me some good news.
And Madden will start on the bench more than likely.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. But the
There's
other
your
way,
glimmer of hope.
yeah, the other way of thinking of that is we've won 12 in a row without those two.
Without him,
So,
yeah.
yeah, that's one way of thinking about it. Listen, Ed, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for coming on.
No worries, diolch yn fawr.
Yeah, diolch and Will. See you later. Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
See you later.
Here's Armstrong. Armstrong. Yes. Oh, what timing!
Quick little bit of bonus admin before we crack on with the rest of the show. Just to let people know, there'll be no away day show with Geordie Hatter this week, unfortunately, because he's priorly. He's got a prior engagement. I don't think priorly is a word. Second bit of admin, I put the post on Patreon about the Christmas do, inviting people to send us a message. I stipulated in the post, send us a message through Patreon, and naming no names, Gazendo and Phil Lloyd, but you've both commented on the post, and I'm a stickler for the rules. I like things done properly, so drop us a private message. It doesn't make a difference really, but seeing as I've said, send us a message. The least people could do. I mean, it doesn't bode well for the quiz, does it? If they're going to be participating in the audience, it doesn't bode well. Yes, there we go. More admin done. Boxed it off.
Coolio. Drew Robinson says, "I liked Ed, one of the better guests that I've seen." Oh,
he's better than that Phil Lloyd bloke we had on last week. At least he can follow instructions.
Yeah. Excellent stuff. We have reached 1,600 subs, by the way. You can see that on the screen now. We've got there. Woo! Excellent stuff. Shall we talk about? I mean, let's continue the conversation about Newport. Now we're there, and then we'll talk about Colchester in a second. I mean, on paper, it looks like a routine win, doesn't it? What do you think?
Yeah, but again, didn't we go there last year? And was we wobbling last year when we went there and we came out? Was it 2-1 that we beat them?
2-1. Yeah.
And we looked a bit shaky for the first 20 minutes and stuff, and then we settled down and played our game again. But as you say, I think I'm not. The simple reason is that in this run of 12 that we've won, is that we've changed the system. And we've moved people around to match or to get what we want. Like against Colchester, we played 5 at the back for the first 10-15 minutes, and it was like, no, these are not gonna be like that type of team. We don't need 5 at the back, so we put Akil Wright in, moved him up into midfield, and then it's like, we're not going to need 2 defensive midfielders, so let's get somebody else on that can be a bit more creative and stuff like that. So I think we've been able to adapt. And like I say, Swindon, Sars went off, so we went to a back 3 because that suited better playing against Swindon. So although we sort of pretty much played with the same personnel, I think we've been able to adapt. And again, as you say, that bench, we've got people that can come off the bench and change a game and change the way that we're playing and stuff. So they seem a bit, as you say, got a lot of injuries. They're not playing that brilliantly and stuff like that. So I don't see why we can't go there and get a result.
That was the main criticism from a lot of people last season, was that it seems to be, if plan A doesn't work, we don't know where to turn. And we saw improvements towards the end of last season in that respect, but this season has just been on a different level. Like blip at the start aside, obviously.
But again, you say it was a lot of injuries and a lot of chopper changing and stuff, wasn't it? And it's you like the consistency. You know what I mean? It's people saying players are starting getting tired when we'd won like 7 or 8 games playing the same starting 11 every time. But there was a lot of players that were still getting some rest in there. There was games that we were playing where they were changing the round. And as you say, you look at when we've been playing in the Mickey Mouse Cup, whatever it's called nowadays, it's like we're changing 11 players. And you look at those 11 players and the majority of them would probably get in most other League Two sides. and they're the ones that are fighting for the bench in reality. So it's the strength in depth is absolutely unbelievable, and I think that's what we've got now, and that's will make the difference, and that's why I think we can go to Newport and make it 13 on the trot.
They're getting most League One sides as well. If the assistant manager reports on Football Manager or anything to go by. So, need we say any more?
No, you're probably right. Ian Dowden makes a good point. We seem to have plan A, B, C, D, and F now. And what was it? I don't know how many months ago it was, but it didn't seem like there was a plan B. But we seem to just be able to change. I not want to say at a whim, but to adapt, which is really, really pleasing. And there seems to be a pattern. There seems to be a pattern, doesn't there, where these teams come at us early doors and we sort of change. It took longer against Swindon, maybe a bit less against Colchester because we went in at 1-0 up. So yeah, I don't fear anybody, as somebody else has said in the comments, but I just got this niggling thing at the back of my mind that it's got to come to an end at some point.
It's got to come to an end at some point.
The sooner it's gonna.
Yeah,
it's unprecedented.
Absolutely, but you've been nervous since before Swindon. But this is the same as the National League season, isn't it? For the last 15 games, before every game,
I've been nervous since before Wrexham, to be honest.
Yeah, I was dead nervous before Wrexham, I've got to say. But you sort of sleepwalk into it, don't you? Because the runs in the National League and in League Two last season, I don't think I ever felt. I think it's because we were drawing in the middle of those. I didn't ever feel like the wheels were going to come off. And I don't know why I've got this feeling now. Not necessarily the wheels are going to come off completely, but we have to lose at some point, and it will come. I get the feeling we'll probably do a draw, maybe here and there first, perhaps.
Yeah, that's going to come. Interesting your use of the word sleepwalk there as well. You don't tend to hear that in a positive sense in football. It's always like they sleepwalk the way to relegation. Well, we have on many occasions. But, it was very jarring when you said that. Then I was like, oh, he said that in a good way.
Yeah. I think. Do you know why it's in my head? Because I saw a report on Sky Sports News before the guy out of Game of Thrones who's a United fan. Have you seen that? Doing the rounds today.
John Bradley.
Yeah. The lad, is he from Wythenshawe? Is he?
Wythenshawe, yeah.
Yeah, and he was saying when he first started watching United in the early to mid 2000s, he said, I think he said, or I might have made it up. He was just sleepwalking game to game because they were expecting to win every time, and then when you take that away, that's when you realise, oh shit, no, it's a proper game, because he was only a young lad when it happened. You don't win forever.
That was the least believable thing about Game of Thrones. That was like the living like in the snow, like near the wall, like starving and stuff, and he was still a big lad. Really put me off it. Really ruined the realism for me.
Yeah, a bit far fetched. Too far fetched for me.
Yeah, I'm turning it off now.
He was eating the people that kept dying.
Oh God.
But yeah, Saturday, looking at FOTMob, which is my go-to now. It's really, really good. Omar Bogle is up there on a lot of these things in terms of attacking play. Will Evans, obviously, as well, so he's one to watch. I think their overall player to watch is probably Bryn Morris. I mean, unless you
Welsh names in there. Will Evans, Bryn Morris.
And Omar Bogle, obviously.
Yeah, the most Welsh of all of them.
It did make me laugh when he said, I was going to bring it up actually, when he said about Will Evans, something about a Wales call up. And I was thinking, well, he wouldn't be the first average lower league player to be campaigning to get a Wales call up, will he?
No.
Yeah, but at least he's
Welsh.
Welsh.
Than what they've got.
Well, yeah.
Not just lives near Wales.
Well, they reckon Mullins burnt his bridges now, hasn't he? Because didn't he do some Q&A for his book or something the other night, and he said, I think he just put me on the standby list so we didn't have Wrexham fans knocking his door down. It's like, oh. I don't think he's asked about playing for Wales, is he really? Not with comments like that anyway.
It's more the fan base, isn't it, really?
I always love watching Wales. Like, all my life watching Wales, like in the 90s, it was just like 9 blokes running around like, Ryan, Ryan. Oh, good goal, Ryan. Good goal. And then like the last 10, 15 years, but Gareth. Well played, Gareth. Well played. Great. Who's going to be the next one?
Well, I don't think they've got one, have they? That's the problem, isn't it? That's the
No.
problem. I think they're just playing on
Bale's
fumes now, aren't they?
retired now, isn't he?
Still in the qualifiers for the Euros as well.
Yeah, but like I say, sort of playing on energy and fumes, aren't they? They're not playing on the talent.
No, they've got a very poor manager as well.
Oh right, yeah.
I don't rate Page as a manager. I think no.
I don't really. I can't read him, to be honest.
Although he's better morally than the one he replaced, so that's something, isn't it?
Yes. Done full circle back to Ryan there. Very good. So Colchester on Saturday then. Again, it felt like we made hard work of it, didn't it? Up until the goal. But as soon as that happened, we kind of sort of glided towards the 3 points, didn't we?
Sorry, did I miss a pun there?
Yeah, you did. You can watch it back. I'm not going over it again.
Yeah, well, one of us has to watch it back, don't they?
So yeah, what did you think of Colchester on Saturday?
It did feel like that. I got a bit frustrated because one of my big bugbears is Akil Wright in midfield, and it's not that I don't rate him as a player. It's that in the National League North, when he played in midfield for York, you get more time on the ball. Teams don't press as much there, but I do think he panics with the ball at his feet in midfield. I don't, and it really frustrated me first. It wasn't that he had a particularly bad game, but it says he seemed to keep, whether it was by accident or by design, he kept dropping back into the defence. It seemed, even though we'd switched from the back three, and that's why a lot of people didn't even notice that we'd switched to a back four 10 minutes in. Looking at social media, no one seemed to have noticed. But then as soon I think we grew into the game as it went on. I was very frustrated by Etherington's comment saying, their keeper got man of the match, which says it all.
Yeah, it shows how well we played when their keeper gets man of the match.
It shows that he's just moved up a place in the top 10 appearances, and they wanted to mark the occasion. That's what it shows, because he was,
and the sponsors wanted to shake his hand and have a picture.
Yeah. I mean, don't we all? But there was other contenders. I'd have had Crowsdale, Southam Hales, or Bailey as man of the match ahead of him. But yeah, they had that chance, Colchester. But I think even they go 1-0 up from that smart little flick that hit the bar. They go 1-0 up there, then we've got that whole wounded animal thing where we react just as we did against Swindon. It's not going to be. I've seen people saying, well, Colchester score that and that's game over. They win. Then it's like, what have you seen in the past couple of months that would make you think that? It's like there was no ambition with them really. It was a speculative effort that they had. There was the chance where they put the cross into the corridor of uncertainty, and Ben was out very quick to block it, which I thought was a great save. But other than that, it's one of those where you could only see one winner.
Yeah,
it seemed a matter of when rather than if we got the goal, and it was just going. But big credit to Ryan Crowsdale in the build-up to the first. For someone who people have been claiming can't pass.
Where are you seeing all this stuff? Where are you seeing these things? I'm not seeing these things. Crowsdale can't pass, and you said one just a minute ago. It would game over if they score that goal. I've never. Who says this? Who are you hanging around with, Nick?
I don't hang around with anyone. Yeah. Well, you two mainly. No, but you see it on the on the boards and mainly on Twitter. I've deleted the Twitter and Facebook apps last week or so, just for a break, just for a detox.
Yeah.
It's not good for the old men's mental health, is it?
Not at all, mate. Not at all.
But yeah, Crowsdale on the. I mean, it's probably the weakest part of his game. But when his defensive positioning and his reading of the game is that good, then why is it necessary? But it was a great pass for Camps' goal, a great drive forward and pass for the Camps goal against Swindon, the fourth, and then again it wasn't on Yellowboard actually, it was on Twitter. Those comments, that's what prompted me to.
Yeah, I think that's what County 1883 saying there. Yeah, You saw the comments, yeah. No, that surprises me because, I mean, didn't he set up camps last week at Swindon?
Yeah, that's what I just said while you were focusing on the comments.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so I did it before when we were prepping for the show. Before you said something to me, and I was typing the bit about the Talksport fan network to have a reminder, and I totally missed what you said. So it's fine. It happens to all of us.
But saying stuff like that's a bit like saying a goalkeeper, yeah, he's good at shot stopping. Well, yeah, because he has to be. I mean, that's the whole thing.
That's the bare minimum.
Yeah. Croasdale
That's his job.
has to pass. Surely he's got to pass. I don't.
I suppose it's not what you know him for, is it? If you know, he's the guy that sits in front of the back four, breaks things up, and passes it out to the creative people. Simple pass, left, right, or whatever. So, and they say, sometimes I think maybe he does not panic a bit, but just get a little bit rash in some of his like passing decisions and stuff like that. And I think over the last few games, I think you've seen he's put a couple of passes astray. But if you're being critical and you're trying to focus on that, you're going to see that more than him pinging a ball out to Southam Hales, aren't you? You know what I mean? It's the same as anything. If you're thinking that that's his issue, what he can't do, then you're not going to see the good passes. You're only going to see the bad passes.
Yeah,
and especially he's not, as you say, he's not our creative midfielder. He's the guy that sits there and does the dirty work. And you just say he always has like at least a 7. He's always at least a 7, isn't he? In pretty much every game that he plays, but nobody notices him because he's just there doing what he does.
It's not a sexy position, is it?
No.
That's the thing with defence. You never. Do people ever say that about like N'Golo Kante or Claude Makelele? They say, "Oh well, he's the best defensive midfielder in the world, but he can't bloody pass, can he?" It's just I've got to find a reason. But I thought his pass for the first goal for Southam Hales was Paul Scholes-esque, and I spent the rest of the half thinking to myself, "I'm going to say that on the pod. I'm going to say it was Paul Scholes-esque." And then at half time, I had a pint and I was thinking, is Paul Scholes-esque the right? And then we had a Paul Scholes-esque goal for the second. So Paul Scholes was very much the theme of the week, really.
Not a bad theme, is it?
Yeah.
By all accounts.
Yeah, I wish I had a daughter so I could chew her toes.
Oh.
That's why you were thinking about Paul Scholes.
Yeah, that's why I deleted Twitter.
Just sticking with Croasdale, actually, JK makes a good point here. The thing about Croasdale is, when he's not playing, we miss him massively, don't we?
Yeah. We do seem to, and I think Ben said it, Mr. Shirtman, several times that we don't win games if he's not in the team.
It's about three years.
There is a lot of evidence about that, isn't there?
Is that the player or the system?
I think I think we play a system that relies on us having that kind of player, having a ball winner in there, and we don't have anyone else who can do that. No one in the squad. As much as Camp seems to be the go-to in that position, which when you're on the front foot and you're attacking, then it's fine. He can play there. He can dictate play from deep. But when you're under the cosh and you need someone with that positional sense, with that footballing brain to know where to cover, where to press and everything, Camps isn't that player. So we have no one to do what Croasdale does.
He dropped in for the last half an hour for one of the games. Was that Swindon? No, it went off at Swindon. But it was one of the games where he dropped in and he looked good playing there. But I think I had the young lad that we've got. I thought he was supposed to be Cottrell. I thought he's more likely to be the person that would be in the Croasdale role. I think that was from listening, not seeing how he plays and stuff, but looking at his attributes and things like that. He looks like he's the type of player that would be the Croasdale standing at the moment. I think he seems to be the most natural there. But yeah, as you say, it's a difficult position because, as you say, it's not a glamorous position, is it? You just sit there, break things up, and then pass it. pass it away. So it's difficult to try and get another person who wants to sit there and come off the bench and play that role.
Yeah, I think
That's
there's plenty out there. There's plenty out there.
But I think I suppose maybe Ackle Wright. That's no, but that's the position that he played
Stop
in.
it! Stop
he played,
it!
That's the position he played at
me.
York. That was the position he played at York. So
yeah,
as
but
you say,
he had more time on the ball at that level.
But if it is the case of him getting more time on the ball, then maybe it's because he's played sort of that right centre back role where he has been sort of marauding forwards. He can't get that out of his head. You know what I mean? Even if he goes and sits in that Crowsdale role, he's still trying to think, well, I get the ball, I can take it forward now, instead of being more controlled and going, right, I'll just pass it left, pass it right, and then I'll stand here. You know, he's not got the same attitude for that position as Crowsdale has.
That's what I'd like to see in January. If we can get someone in there to, I mean, Crowsdale's first name on the team sheet for me, and has been for a very long time. But if we can get someone who can compete with him, like a younger player who can, preferably someone permanent as well, because Cottrell, if Cottrell did come into that role, there's no way we're going to be signing him in the summer because Swansea have got plans for him and what have you. They're planning to integrate him into the first team eventually. So it's not like we're going to be signing him permanently. So I would like us to bring someone through. See, if Cody Johnson had gone back out on loan, then you'd hope that come next season he'll be ready for that. But he needs a good 6 months or so out on loan in the National League before he can step into that role. Because as much as Cody Johnson did well when he came into that Sheffield Wednesday game in particular, thought he did well against Bradford as well, although some people didn't. But he needs to be playing week in, week out. Because he's the one that I see playing that role eventually.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, let's move on because we're 45 minutes in, lads. So play this short clip, then we'll talk about Simon Wilson.
Some good football chat that was.
It was good football chat, yeah. Yeah, it was good. Play this little clip, then we'll talk about Simon Wilson interview and getting reses and a little quiz.
If you're watching us on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe. And for the audio podcast, please rate, review, and recommend us on whatever podcast player you are listening to us on. Cheers, thank you.
Okay, so Simon Wilson's interview then, for those that have or have not watched it. I watched it. I know you haven't yet, Nick. Waggy, you have. I thought it was really good. I mean, the whole interview was 55 minutes long, I think of county content in there, because it was more, obviously it was about Simon Wilson and his previous roles and his career. Youth player at Peterborough, by all accounts, which was news to me. But he said some things that were really interesting. Waggy, what did you pick up on it, just generally speaking?
I thought it was quite impressive that the presenter managed to go 10 minutes without mentioning Wrexham.
That
was quite unbelievable, and that will lead on to other things. But yeah, I thought it was good, as you say. It was more about him himself, talking about, like, say, where he's been, how he's gone, and things like, say, his role at City. And then I thought it was quite interesting where he said he got bored.
Yeah,
because he'd got everything set up and everything was there working. And as I said, he was walking around the pitches and stuff, and he was like, I've got nothing to fix. What am I supposed to do now? And then it was interesting for him to say, although everything that he has done at County so far, there's so much more that they want to do and can be doing. And the good thing is that, and he pretty much said, I've got a mate who owns the club who thinks exactly the same. That was the impression, that he's very, 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 very close knit between him and Stott. So I thought that was interesting. And yeah, just some of the things that he was, he sort of said around, as you say, I didn't know that he was a youth player at Peterborough and stuff like that. So it was quite a good. I think it's one of them that I'd like. I think I'm going to listen to it again, because I think there was quite a lot of stuff that I probably papered out or missed because I was thinking about other things that he was saying and talking to. So
Yeah.
Is it like the Breaking Bad of podcast interviews? Like, you can't get everything you need from the first watch, so you need to need to go back. There's layers.
There's layers.
That really. I knew that he'd like looking into his background when he first joined us. I knew about the Peterborough connection, but I've only just made the further connection that bodes very well for what I want us to be, which is picking up rough gems from non-league, developing them, and then selling on to Championship and Premier League clubs for a profit, which is the way we seem to be going already.
Yeah. So when you say rough gems, do you mean at the youth phase?
No, of players, 23 and under who are doing well in the National League. Obviously, that's what we've tried. That's what we're doing with Lewis. They obviously have high hopes for him with him getting a new contract. Connor Evans was another one that we hoped that'd be the case with, but he's in a position where he's got lots of competition, and we've shown that we're better with that midfield of Collar and Sars with Crowsdale behind them, which kind of leaves Connor Evans as the odd man out. But that seems to be the way we're trying to go.
Yeah, that wasn't. I mean, that wasn't really the essence of what he spoke about, to be honest. I mean, he might have.
I wasn't expecting it to be mentioned in an interview, but yeah, hopefully it's. I think that is the way they're going. Yeah.
Yeah, so the focus definitely is on the youth setup, and we will have Michael Rains on in a few weeks as well to give us an update on how everything is doing in that respect. I say a few weeks. We have to nail him down and get him in and record it and things, and it is a bit of a challenge, as you can imagine. But some of the things I picked up on, and I'll read them out because I sat here watching it, making notes, because that's the kind of life I lead, boys and girls.
That's probably what I'm going to do on the second time. I just wanted to watch it just to see what you said.
So straight away when he came in, you're right. He loves a startup, and he got bored. So yeah, this is what it is to him. It's a startup. It's almost like a blank canvas. He said, apart from Edgeley Park, because as they got in, there were already visions in place, so you can't really sort of play around with that as much, which I thought was really interesting. The idea was to set it up as a championship club as soon as possible, so that we would be ready. So we don't, you don't get to the championship and you have to start doing it.
Yeah, said that a few times, and I think even we said it back in the National League as well, didn't we? Mentioned about him mentioning that type of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not necessarily data orientated, so there's he has this link, this thing with Prozone, because I think he was part of that startup, and he used that to get into Southampton, where they brought through Bale, Walcott, and he named a couple of others as well. Which, I mean, you can't argue with that, can you? I mean, some of them names. But he said he's not necessarily data orientated, but he likes to maximize data, which again, I mean, that sounds pretty good to me. And then he went on and spoke a lot about the academy, because he thought it was really unfair that when we dropped out, we had to stop that. And the last player that left the academy was the player that scored the first goal that got us up against Halifax, which was Cannon. Was it Cannon?
Andy Cannon. And yeah, he scored. Did he score?
The second goal.
Collar scored the second.
Scored the second goal because
Collar scored the second.
Yeah, I was trying to. Yeah, that was actually Cannon didn't score in that game.
It was Cannon. I mean, I've got it in the clips here if you want to watch it.
Yeah, go on then.
All down nicely by Cannon, who hits it early, and it runs brilliantly for the second. It's Collar. Took that so well.
So maybe I've probably got my facts wrong. I've not written that bit down, by the way. So yeah, he's probably
no, but he did say. I'm sure he said the last.
He did make reference to it.
He did make reference to Cannon scoring against Halifax. I thought he said in the interview he scored first.
Yeah,
or he was the last. He was the last goal scorer in non-league. And he was actually a Stockport. He was the last Stockport Academy player. And for him not to be able to play for Stockport was bad, basically.
Yeah.
We've had a comment. I'm assuming it's in reply to what I said about the Peterborough model. No, Wilson's aim is to develop our own players from ages 10 and up. The 10-year-olds can't play in the team at the moment, though. which is the two aren't mutually exclusive. We'll be doing that and bringing through young players that we can eventually sell on. If we want to be more sustainable and break even, then that's what you have to be doing rather than just spunking massive fees on everybody.
Yeah, I think, well, maybe there's a bit of confusion because I think he did say it's a 10-year plan. That's what I remember him saying in that, is that it is a 10-year plan and we're only a year in.
It was more about incubation now. Set up an incubation, and if you get ones that come through, then that's a bonus. That come through that are good enough, then that is a bonus. But it's more about that sort of long term, medium to long term, which I thought was good. And he said the academy is essentially a startup as well, but we've got a great catchment area. So any that slip out of the big two, we want to be the team that they come to, which I think we're getting a bit of that already, aren't we?
I think so. Yeah, it seems to be the same. But again, we're set up. We've got a championship training centre and everything like that, and all that type of stuff is all set up that way, isn't it? So as you say, people coming and having a look around. We're set up as a championship club. We've said that before. And that's what's very attractive about us.
Yeah. And then the final thing that I've written down is they want to showcase Stockport, so we can do that on a national level because of the football club, and we can do it on a little bit of a level on an international level as well. So not sure that growing the international attraction of Stockport County is on the agenda, but it's definitely probably in the back of the mind.
But I mean,
Embellish back to China.
It won't be the same. Yeah, get us back in the China tours. I think, obviously, it won't be the same as those ones across the border. But I think it's gonna. If we start moving up the leagues, it gets you more interest and more, showtime and stuff like that. I think for me, the other one was where he said that basically there's 300,000 people in Stockport, and hopefully we can harness 10% of that, and that gives us a fan base of 30,000. Which again makes us massively sustainable. And hopefully that should be given us, if we expand the stadium to 22,000, then we've got it all over. But I think you can see, I said obviously I don't live in Stockport or anything like that, but I speak to my sister and my mum and dad and stuff like that, and they're like, you can see so many more kids running around in county tops than even 4 or 5 years ago, and even going back, in the 90s, in our heyday type of thing, there wasn't that many people running around or wearing Stockport County shirts and stuff like that around town or around Stockport and stuff like that. So that's the massive thing. And as you say, a lot of people, with where we used to give the tickets away for the schools and stuff like that, you can start getting them fans in, then they're going to be here for the long term.
Something that Stock mentioned we've not touched on it yet, but there was a fantastic piece in The Athletic this week by Daniel Taylor.
Yes.
I've seen a lot of people whinging, saying, "Oh, why should I have to pay for the Athletic?" Is well worth it. I think I use my Athletic subscription more than I use the likes of Netflix and Spotify. It's that, and it's not club centric like journalism as well. It's just generally about the state of football and pros and cons and everything. And you're paying for articles by people like Daniel Taylor, who did that fantastic piece in The Athletic, and that's something Stock remarked on in there, driving around Stockport and seeing kids in county shirts.
Yeah, I signed up for The Athletic, and I read that document, read that report, and I was like, wow, that's it was really good and interesting. But I say we've had a lot of airtime in the last sort of week or so, haven't we? Which again,
well done to Liam Richardson as well for fielding all that. Like, obviously, Liam Richardson's got the connection with the right people, so that we can do that. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, it's been good because I didn't even realise that ITV were at the ground on Saturday. It was only when I've gone back and watched the highlight show on ITV that ITV were there.
Yeah, you couldn't miss them.
So I saw. You two left the courtyard very early. You didn't get to see Jules Breach hosting a little thing from outside the courtyard. I did.
Well, I did, but it was on the telly. I didn't see it.
I saw it in real life. No, I was not.
One thing.
I wonder what that blurred image was at the background.
One thing you did mention, just to finish up on this part of the show, And I mean, he's back to Wrexham again, I guess. But he said, because he was asked about it, I think it was early on. It might have been in that interview, but
10 minutes.
or it might have been through the Athletic article. I can't remember which one it was, but he said that with us, with the driving value into the Stockport County name and driving it into the Stockport County community, that's where they're driving the value. But with the Wrexham lads, it feels like they're driving it through the owners. The owners are getting the value of it, not the Wrexham and the town. And I thought that was quite telling, coming from somebody who's, you know, at that sort of level within a football club.
Yeah, it was the Wilson one, isn't it? He said, because it's like Stockport Council are trying to promote Stockport County, and the town, and Stockport County are trying to promote the town as well, so that we grow together. Yeah.
So yeah, just interesting. But yeah, if you haven't watched it, do watch it. And same good point as well, Nick. The Athletic article is great. My lad watched it, and his just face was just beaming when he was reading it. You know, one of his first games was mentioned in it. Actually, it was the 4-1 defeat at home to Boston. And I missed the fourth goal because he started crying. I had to take him out. And if they usher a kid out because they're crying, like you do at a wedding or something.
Bloody snowflake generation. God, can't even put up with 90 minutes of shit football without crying. Try 10 years.
Never witnessed the 7-2 against Rochdale.
Right, we're on an hour. What do you want to do? Do you want to do the quiz and then get in reses? Do it.
We can do that. To the quiz, right? So for those who, for everyone, because they weren't here when I outlined it before the show, this quiz is starting 11s. It has absolutely not been cribbed from any other podcasts, namely Quickly Kevin. What I'm going to do, I am going to pit Russ against Waggy. Might make it a weekly thing, see how it goes, or just whenever we get a chance. It is going to be a very short quiz. So what we're going to do, you're going to have a choice of 2 games. You won't know the games. You'll just have game 1 and game 2. With its penalty shootout, sudden death rules. So you each get a go at naming a player who was in the starting 11 for that particular game. If you name a player that came on as a substitute, you get another go. If you name a player that was an unused substitute, then you lose the point.
Right.
You don't get the point for that. So you only get a point if you name a player who was in the starting 11. Now, Russ, you can go first. So, can I just say before I choose my match? Other fan guests, when we get them on, we'll either do this or we'll do the starting 11 one we did last week, whichever. But we'll sort out a prize for fan guests. Let's just say that. Yes, we absolutely will. Yeah, we'll keep. It's easy because we can say this now because we're just starting it. It'll be easy to chronicle the score. I wish we'd done this with getting the reses. I wish we'd made a list from the start of everything that's got in the reses because we're just going over all ground with some of mine now. Right, Russ, you can pick first. Do you want game 1 or game 2?
I'll have game 2.
Game 2, right. So game 2 comes from. Now I've tried to base them around the time. So this was 7 years ago today. It was Tuesday, the 22nd of November, 2016, in the Vanarama National League North, and it was a trip to the Lamb Ground for a 2-2 draw with Tamworth. Hang on. So, it's getting tense now, isn't it? Fire up the quiz music. There we go. Right. Russ, now you've got 11 starters and 3 substitutes that came on.
Right, I'm going to go for
November
Danny Hurst.
You are wrong.
Oh,
you're wrong already. You've got no. Waggy has to get one right to.
Right.
Sudden death, isn't it? I've not like outlined this twice already. Christ Almighty.
So, what year was it?
Waggy, this was the start. It was November 2016, the 2016-17 season.
2016-17.
Are we looking on your phone? Dead air's a crime.
No,
I need to look on my phone. That's what the answers are.
I'm staring into lower space because I've not got a Scooby. Danny Lloyd.
Danny Lloyd is correct. You've won. Well done. That was very quick, wasn't it? Oh God, that was well. Yes, so the team was. I mean, you're going to kick yourself, Russ. 2016, your team was Ben Hinchliffe, Mark Ross, Max Cartwright, Lewis Montrose, Michael Clark, Chris Smalley, Kane Felix, Gary Stopforth, Coyote Odejayi, Jimmy Ball, and Danny Lloyd. The three substitutes who came on were John Marsden, Josh Amos, and Sam Minihan.
I know all of them.
We all do. Yeah. I mean, I should really hope.
So
I should
Danny
really hope
Lloyd was
so.
a complete guess, so I thought it was a bit early for Danny Lloyd.
No, that was his one season, 2016-17. And, I mean, you might have had more luck with the other game, Russ, because that was 99-2000.
Oh, fucking hell.
But that's the way the game falls, mate. That's the way the game falls.
Yeah, well done.
I
Waggy.
can't believe I won that.
You don't get anything. Don't get anything for no goalkeepers. Not in this game. Good game.
Right, should we do getting reses?
Do it.
Reses.
Get in the reses.
Get in the reses.
I'm not having that.
Get in the reses.
Oh, getting reses.
Took inspiration from the Boundary Park Alert System boys for that. Sexy Dave Bradley, and Matt Dean.
Yeah, why doesn't one of us get a sexy prefix for the name?
Well, it won't be me.
I
So
don't-
it's going to be, if anyone, it's going to be you.
Oh shit, we're all doomed then. aren't
Anyway,
we?
right.
Christ.
Who's going? Who wants to go first? Go on then.
Right. So I'm not gonna make you sing, right? But there's a song that we've sung for years at County, right? E-I-E-I-E-I-O, up the Football League we go. When we
Yeah.
were in promotion, this is what we'll sing.
Yeah.
We are Stockport, Super Stockport. What's the next line? As of this moment, what is the next line? We are Stockport,
Challoner.
Super Stockport.
Challoner is our king.
Why? Why would you put the extra syllable in?
I don't know. That's
Why?
what people
Why
do.
are people putting? Yeah,
don't
but it's
know.
Charlie. Charlie is our king. Wait, I don't
Charlie's-
understand.
You'd have to go, Charlie is our king, wouldn't you? It's a bit more.
Which would fit with the song, which is how the song goes. That would be the correct way of doing it.
Yeah, I suppose.
I've never been so livid during a routine 2-0 home win as I was on Saturday hearing that.
That's because you was thinking about
And-
Scalzi and sucking some toes.
And and to be honest, I feel kind of vindicated that you did end it with the erroneous Challoner us. Because if you said Charlie, I would have been I'd just been like, yes, you're correct. So why doesn't 5,000 people in the Sheedland know that? Really, really annoys me.
Yeah. I didn't have. Do you know what? I didn't have an opinion.
Syllables are
I
there
was
for a
just,
reason.
I didn't have an opinion. I was just telling you what I heard, which is Challoner is our king. I do concede though. It is too many syllables for that song.
Yeah, it is. It really.
It was-
Same
here's-
with Davy
Does that
Challoner's
mean
Blue
that
White
we-
Army.
so-
Dave Challoner's fits.
If it goes in the reses, then does that mean we're not allowed to chant it anymore? We're not allowed to sing it anymore?
Oh, no, because no one's going to listen to me, are they? If people listen to me, I'd have a bigger platform than this, wouldn't I?
So do you know?
If the three of us are putting it in the reses, does that mean is that more? Is a bit more weight behind it than that we've got to stop singing it, or if
No,
people
it
just
just
start
means
singing
it's-
it and then we can just go fuck off,
No.
Ross, Nick, and Waggy?
If people just take a good hard look at themselves as a result of something I've said, as I often do with myself as a result of something I've said on here, then my work here is done.
Okay.
Now go forth and spread the gospel of
Yeah.
not ramming extra syllables into songs that don't require them.
Do we sing the scarf my father wore incorrectly as well? Because
Well, no, because I accidentally sing the Scarf Bagara Wall every single time now.
No, I mean earlier on when they said when I do it as well. I wore the scarf around my neck, but is it not? I wore it proudly round my neck.
Here's which I sing. I sing proudly. That's how I was always taught it when my uncle
And
taught
do
it.
you
me.
when you do you do it? Do you do that a bit louder and look around at everybody?
Yeah. Same as I do when we sing Hinchliffe in the middle of our goal. You can hear the C sound clicking in my ear. So I have to turn around and be like, Hinchliffe. Yeah, I get very aggressive singing that. I get more aggressive singing that than I do like giving abuse to referees.
Oh yeah, good one.
Well,
Anyway,
I've had my win. Who's next?
good one. Wacky, what's yours, mate?
Wait, all week for that.
I'm putting Andy Goldstein in the reses.
Oh, yeah.
He was my second choice.
Yeah, Mr. Challoner was on TalkSport on whatever night it was. Monday night, was it? I think he was. And I think he went 30 seconds and then started talking about Wrexham. But then also said that we were in a race for promotion with the likes of Wrexham, Notts County, and Macclesfield, I think, wasn't we?
Did you say Macclesfield?
They've done well, haven't they?
He said
done very well.
Macclesfield. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
They've just come above. They've just got above. Filed for getting into the league.
Yeah. I did enjoy the fact though that straight after he'd mentioned Wrexham and Macclesfield, Challoner just went. I'd just like to imagine that.
Yeah.
Challoner just went now. Sod you.
Sorry,
Go through a tunnel.
Fair enough. Let's not say too much about our lords and masters TalkSport. Right.
I for one welcome our right wing overlords.
Brilliant. It's just one single presenter that doesn't get his facts right when he was speaking to the Stockport manager. How's that? Is that good enough for you? We're not getting sacked.
Alan Brazil's a gimp as well, to be fair. It's can.
I mean, can't argue. Good one. Mine's already been mentioned here, but I wanted to sort of how do I say pull it back a bit. It's the lights and the vuvuzelas, or what sounded like vuvuzelas on Saturday. I couldn't see where they were vuvuzelas.
What was the lights? What was that?
Well, the lights,
was it around 60 minutes, 70 minutes?
I don't know what's going on there. I can only think it's kids, and if it's kids, fair enough. Putting the lights on. I don't know. It's not a club play gig, though, is it?
No, but it was at a specific time. They all suddenly put them on. But then also, again, I noticed it on the England Moldova game on Monday. It got to a certain time.
People who go and watch England are wrong uns by and large, aren't they? Though.
Well, yeah, there is that. But we're in Moldova, so obviously it must have been something to them. But yeah, that's the first time I've ever seen it at County, and I was like, everyone that was sat up at tier 3 near me was like, "What's going on? Have we got Elton John coming on?" We signed a new player on a free. Elton John's coming on playing in centre mid.
Centre mid's the last place you'd want him.
Elton John
on the football pitch is the last place you'd want him.
I don't know. We've had some passengers over the years.
I guess another one
on the left. They just hope they've all come over there.
Lazy journalism as well. Just to put Gazendo here, he's getting the reses. Is the BBC reporter who interviewed Fraser Horsfall as our keeper?
He did actually.
It wasn't the reporter; it was the graphic person.
It was the.
Oh, was it a graphic?
There you go. Yeah, Stockport goalkeeper.
Well, I think what had happened. I think they'd planned to interview Ben, just like we did on the 2019 night, and then he dropped out. I think that's what's happened there, and they forgot to change it all.
Yeah. Come on, Ben, get your act together. Stop dropping out of stuff.
Yeah. Come on the podcast. As long as he just drops
out
podcasts
and
not balls.
Doesn't drop anything on the pitch.
Yeah.
Did you two just talk over each other then, but came to the same ending?
Thing? Yeah. We're so in sync that we often finish each other's
sentences.
Sandwiches.
No, sandwiches.
God.
See.
Good stuff. Right. I think we'll call it there. So yeah, just to recap, loads of stuff to look forward to. You've got Steve Massey interview that's being recorded tomorrow out on Sunday for patrons. Courtyard Club Call on Monday as normal, and then next Wednesday we'll have another live show, and then Thursday we'll have Dave Smith Never Existed coming out. I mean, that's too much if you ask me.
And again, as you said before, Courtyard Club Call is free this week. So anyone who's not subscribed on Patreon, get yourselves there. Have a listen to me, Russ, and Dan Culverwell talking, deep diving into the Colchester game. And that's what we do every Monday.
Yes.
And there was some very good pre-match Courtyard chat as well, wasn't there not?
Yeah, I do enjoy that. It's good.
On
Yeah, and the feedback suggests that our listeners enjoy that too. So
It's the
let's
main
keep
thing.
that going. Let's keep that going. Do you want to finish up on Sydney Exiles comment there, and then we'll go?
Yes, absolutely. Sad to hear about a county legend, Ian Duncan, passing away this week. Who I'm sure, if you've ever got a coach to an away game at any point over the past 30 years, my first encounter with him was Tranmere away around 2002 when Palmer was in charge, and we were on one of the official club coaches, and about a mile from Fenton Park, the coach stopped for the police escort, and a policewoman. He's never been too sure these days. A policewoman gets on and starts giving it out about, you can't take alcohol in the ground, you can't do this, you can't do that, and he just stands up and like, you, me, outside now, and starts jabbing his finger at her, which I thought was wild. It was clearly her first week on the job, and she just didn't have a clue what to do. But yeah, real character. It's been great hearing some stories about him this week. I believe the funeral details have been posted online, so
they have,
social media for that. Yeah,
we retweeted that, and there was quite a good moment as well. Phil Brennan made a tribute to him where he was stood next to a copper. I think the picture was taken by Sue Corden, and on the right hand side of the picture was Irwin as well, who obviously they've all left us now, haven't they? And 3 county fans there that. Well, I just know them from growing up being a county fan, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you asked me to name 3 people I think of from like the coaches back in the day, it's those 3. Like,
yeah.
Bless them.
Probably agree with you on that one.
Bless them all.
Good stuff. Right. Thanks, guys, and thanks to everybody for listening and watching. Just a reminder, please do rate and review us. It helps us. You can put what you want on the review. Just hit, as long as you hit that button, and do like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you very much. Right, boys. See you soon.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers.
This episode of the Scarf Bagara War was written, recorded and produced by Russ Johnson and Nick Lee. The music on the opening titles was produced by Dan Johnson. Subscribe wherever you get your content, as well as finding out how to join the TSBW fan club. Check out the links in the description or go to allthews scarfbagarawar.co.uk.